Morning everyone, just running down here to grease up the baler a bit, put some more twine in it. I'm gonna show you around and show what we've been doing the last couple of days. You can see in this field, my dad cut and has raked this. And then I baled a little bit of it last night, but we also baled that. There's a little swale piece right off the edge of the field here that we baled up last night and put into bags. And also last night, my dad went down and cut this river pasture piece here just to the south of where our cows are that we kept home from the range. So I think the plan for today is later this afternoon, once this river pasture dries up a bit, I'm gonna bring the round baler down here and just bale this up, and we're gonna throw it in a bag and turn it into baleage. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm gonna get this baler greased up and ready to go. I need to do some maintenance on the swather and run up there and cut those two pieces by the road right by our house. Then hopefully tomorrow we can bale that up also round and throw it in a bag and just keep plugging away at things. Our little repair keeps on holding, so I think if we can get through this season, like I said, I'll be happy with our hack repair that we did. Good morning everyone. So I'm just back down here at Randall's. I just ran down here to swap my truck for the Ranger, because yesterday when I got done cutting hay down here, I just took the swather back to our place, so the Ranger got left down here. And I went and took the kids to my mom's house, and on my way back I'm just going to stop and grab this Ranger and leave the truck here because I need the Ranger, not the truck so much. But my mom and I tag teamed this hay down here at Randall's, getting it cut. We didn't cut all of it, but there are just sections out here that weren't worth cutting. And so last year I did cut the whole thing, and it looked probably similar to what it does this year. Maybe this year looks a bit worse because I think it's been a bit drier this year. But last year we cut the whole thing, and the problem that we ran into when we went to bale it is you went and baled through the thinner sections. So those thinner sections dried out a lot quicker than your heavier stuff. And so when we were baling through those thinner sections, it would just, the alfalfa stems and the grass and the weeds or whatever was in there were so brittle and dry that when those little pickup teeth on the baler went to try to feed that hay through the baler, it would just shatter the stems, just shatter everything, and it would just pulverize it to pulp. And it wouldn't feed through the baler, and it would plug everything up. And so you get plugged up going through those thinner sections. Then you'd have to get off and dig out all that hay and whatnot and start again. I bet I plugged up 10 or 15 times last year trying to bale up through those thinner, drier sections. So this year, instead of fighting that, we just cut the thicker sections that we think will hopefully feed the baler better, and we won't have that problem again. So we're racing against the weather now. Seems like always you cut hay and then all of a sudden the weather starts showing up. So what we've got going on now is next week they're calling for almost a whole week of monsoonal moisture, so kind of a continuous barrage of rain, which we do need, so I'm not going to complain about that one bit. But we've got this hay down at Randall's now, so either way I think we're going to try to bale this up Saturday, even if it's a little bit wet. I mean, I don't think it'll be too wet because this is a dry farm, so there's no irrigation down here, so the alfalfa and the plants are dry to begin with. So I think we'll be okay baling it up a little bit early if we have to. So what I'm thinking is probably tomorrow, which is Friday, I'll come down here and rake this together and get it up off the ground and fluff it up again. And I'm hoping maybe even Friday night, and then Saturday morning and Saturday night we can come down here and bale this and get it all baled up before that monsoonal moisture starts coming in, supposedly on Sunday. So that's kind of the plan. I know I haven't really been filming much the last couple of days. Just kind of been the same thing, just in different fields. we put up a bunch of silage down at our place and kind of got things wrapped up for the most part down there until we start going on some of the second crop down there. So this is what we're focused on now, is down here at Randall's. My dad did go down and bale up about a 15-acre piece last night. So this morning, once I get the Ranger up to our place, I'll run down there and probably start loading that up and get it out of the field. And just get the balers greased up and ready to go, get the rakes ready, just so tomorrow, once we hopefully get going on this, we're not having any delays. Everything that's being left won't be wasted, because once we come home off the range with our cows, this will probably be one of the first places that we come with them. Maybe not the very first place, but eventually this will be used as fall feed. So the stuff that's being left in the field will be grazed off by the cattle later this fall. Then depending on what kind of moisture we get next week, if we do get some regrowth out of this alfalfa and what, you know, the grasses that are down here, that'll also be great fall feed for us. So like everything that's down here will be utilized at one point or the other. And as I was saying, with how dry it's been this summer, it's always in the back of our mind if we have to come home off the forest early. Because if we have to come off early, we've got to find a place to, you know, graze our cows for an extra 2 or 3 weeks or whatever, you know, could be. And so it's always nice having a backup plan on fields that you can graze off or pastures you can go to if you do have to come home early. We cut this down here at Randall's a little bit earlier than normal just because, as I was saying, how dry it's been. A lot of this alfalfa was starting to flower up and burn up and go backwards. And I mean, we didn't know the moisture was coming, or we didn't know the amount, and you can't ever count on the moisture to come. And like, let's say you were expecting more moisture next week and it didn't come, and then your crop's that much further behind because it's been drier for another week. So we decided it was best just to cut it and try to get it up and get what we could off of it and just see what happens this next week with moisture. And like I said, whatever regrowth and the crop that was left will be grazed off eventually this fall. Hard to find good help these days. This one's sleeping on the job. Good morning, everyone. So Elsa and I baled hay last night till it got too wet and called it a night. While we were down there baling hay at Randall's, my dad and my brother Michael were up here bagging some more hay that we baled up earlier yesterday. So they were doing that and I was baling down there, and I felt like we're getting quite a bit done, just trying to beat these storms that are supposed to be coming up here. We're really looking forward to some of the moisture. I don't know how well the camera's picking it up, but you can probably see some of the smoky haze against the mountains there. And we actually have a decent forest fire that started yesterday about 30-40 miles to the south of us. And I know there's another forest fire that started across this mountain range, and there's another one over there by Green River Lakes. I think they've all started within the last few days, so like I've been saying, things are getting pretty dry. And you can see here, this is the two pieces here by our house that we bagged and we cut and bagged the other day. And we've got the water back on, not so much for trying to get a third crop, but just trying to grow some fall feed for the cows when we come home off the range. Because as I've been saying, we're a little bit worried that we might have to come home early just because of the dryness of the year. So we just want to make sure we got a place to go with them and grazing for them when they do come home. So it's still a little early in the morning for me to start baling hay again. The dew's still on the ground a bit too much. I just wanted to come down here, get the baler greased back up and get the twine filled up in it, and just check these bales that I baled last night. I want to come through and probe a good amount of them with the moisture tester, just to make sure we don't have any bales that are too wet. Because like I was saying, we're kind of pushing things a little bit here on on the dryness with these bales, because we're trying to beat these storms that are coming, and we figured it'd be better to bale these bales up a little bit wetter than normal, than have it rained on for a week and then have nothing after that. If it takes longer for the dew to burn off than what I think, I'll just bring the wagons and the tractor down here and start loading hay. They're sure making some nice bales last night. Nice and green and leafy. Tons of leaf in here. So we'll have to probably be a little careful when we feed this. This might be a little potent for the cows. So I probed about every one of these bales. I don't know that I did every one of them, but I made sure I probed them last 4 that I baled up last night. I figured if any of them would be wet, it would be the ones that I baled up last, because that's when the dew would have been the heaviest and the hay would have been the wettest. And for the most part, everything looks good. I'm not too nervous about putting any of these bales in the hay shed. So this is the piece that I'm gonna work on baling up this morning. This one here, and then I don't know how well you can see over these windrows here, but I cut out another section going this way, also over here. So I'm hoping I can get this all baled up this morning. Crossing my fingers. I'm not sure how this piece is going to test, because this piece here where I'm standing was the heaviest of what we cut. We cut this first, so it was cut probably 12-16 hours before the rest of it, just because we knew it was the heaviest and wanted to give it the longest time to dry. So I actually started baling the thinnest stuff, but that's what we cut last. But we did that on purpose because I knew that was the thinnest stuff up there, so I figured it would dry faster than this heavier stuff over here. And you know, all this stuff down here at Randall's is all dry farm, so it hasn't been irrigated, so it was fairly dry to begin with. So I think we're in pretty good shape, really. If this would have been irrigated ground, there's no way that we would have been able to get onto it this quick. There's still a little bit of toughness in them stems, and you feel a bit of the cool dampness inside there. And you know, a lot of that's just from the dew this morning and last night. So we still got a little bit till I can get on this. But these other pieces right here that I was showing you, I still need to bale. That's where I'll start this morning, is on this thinner stuff that's over here closer to the road. So I'll start on that this morning as the dew starts to burn off. And as the dew burns off, hopefully I can work right into this piece here, the heavier, thicker stuff, and get this baled up as things start drying out. At least that's my plan, and we'll just have to watch our pressures and test some bales and see how things are looking. As Ellis and I were finishing up last night, I also had a string that mistied. I don't know if you can see that flag that's popped up on top there. That indicates and tells you when you have a string that mistied, and so you can go up there and have to rethread it. Alright, well, the balers are greased up, spool of twine. Got the side-by-side and the rakes out of the way. So I'm going to give it a try, see if it's getting dry enough. It's usually just a judgment call on when to start. I usually figure about the time I want to start taking my jacket off because I'm warming up too much. It usually says it's getting, you know, dry enough and warm enough. Probably a pretty good time to start. So we'll start here on this thinner stuff and just see what it does. Like I said, by the time we get this thinner stuff baled up, hopefully it's warm enough and dry enough that we can bale up this heavier stuff and just keep going through the morning. I'm probably not going to film much just because I'm kind of in a hurry and don't want to be messing with the camera. I'll let you guys know how it goes. I just finished up baling this thinner piece across from this heavier one. Got a decent amount of bales off of it. I've been testing the bales as I worked my way across because it seemed like it got a bit heavier this way towards the south. So I'm going to test these last few bales that I baled up. Just double check everything because it'd sure be a bad deal to put a wet bale, you know, or wet part of the field into the hay shed and catch something on fire. But everything seemed to bale up nice and made some nice looking bales. I don't know. It's a little bit wet. Well, got all baled up. I am going to go through and probe all these bales, just because, as I've been saying, we're kind of pushing things a little bit when it comes to the moisture. But my pressures on the monitor seemed like they were good. I stopped and probed, 3 or 4 as I was going along, and they all seemed fine. I still just want to walk through and just probe these and make sure there's not a hot one in there somewhere. So all we got to do now is come back in here and get all these hauled out. My brother, Michael, and Dad are actually just up here with the truck and the trailer and the tractor and the wagons. They're starting to haul that first pile that we did last night, Elsa and I did last night. They're starting to load those up and haul them back up to the house, up to our stack yard. So I'm hoping by the time it gets dark tonight, we'll be done. All this hay will be hauled out of here. We can just hunker down and enjoy these storms that are hopefully coming. Buddy, this way, hurry. So I just had a neighbor call me and said we've got some cows coming down off the range, and they're getting pretty close to our place already, so we're gonna run over there and check it out and see if they are ours, see what we want to do with them. If they're as close as he's saying, we'll probably just bring them into the Idaho side there and put them in the pasture. Well, it ended up just being a false alarm. They actually ended up being another one of our neighbor's cows, and so they weren't ours. But that's just a omen of what's to come here, probably over the next month or so, as our cows start coming off the range.
What?
Yeah, bro. Well, we're gonna sit back and enjoy all this rain. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Have a good day.